Paradox of Thrift. Imagine being told that saving money, a habit you've always considered responsible and wise, could actually harm the economy. How is that possible? This is the paradox of thrift, an economic idea that challenges our understanding of personal finance. It reveals a fascinating contradiction. What benefits an individual may not always be good for society as a whole. This paradox forces us to rethink the balance between saving and spending, especially in times of economic uncertainty. The paradox starts with a simple common-sense principle. Saving is good. When you save, you're setting aside money for the future, building financial security, and preparing for unexpected expenses. However, in an economy, saving does not happen in isolation. Your decision to save means spending less, and spending less affects the businesses and workers who rely on consumer demand. The paradox of thrift suggests that when everyone saves simultaneously, it can lead to unintended consequences that ripple throughout the entire economy. Let's break it down with an example. Imagine a small town where suddenly, everyone decides to save more money. People stop eating out, shopping for clothes, and taking vacations. At first, this might seem like a wise decision. Families are being cautious and planning for the future. But as spending decreases, local businesses see fewer customers. Restaurants, shops, and travel agencies start to struggle. They cut back on hiring, lay off workers, or even shut down entirely. With fewer jobs and lower incomes, people have even less money to spend, causing a cycle that continues to weaken the economy. This is the core of the paradox of thrift. An action that is rational and beneficial for one person, saving money, can become harmful when everyone does it at the same time. This is a classic example of what economists call the fallacy of composition, where what is true for an individual is not necessarily true for the whole group. While saving money may help you personally, if everyone tightens their belts at once, the overall economy suffers. Origins of the paradox. The paradox of thrift was popularized by British economist John Maynard Keynes during the Great Depression. Keynes argued that in times of economic downturn, the collective urge to save could worsen the situation. When demand falls, businesses reduce production, unemployment rises, and the economy spirals downward. In such situations, Keynes suggested that what the economy needs is not more saving, but more spending. When people spend money, they create demand, which in turn drives production, creates jobs, and stimulates growth. Is saving always bad? The paradox of thrift doesn't mean that saving is always harmful. In a healthy economy, saving plays a vital role in long-term growth. Savings fuel investments, fund businesses, support infrastructure projects, and drive innovation. The paradox applies specifically to periods of economic contraction, where a sudden increase in saving can worsen a recession. It reminds us that the impact of saving depends on the broader economic context. The role of government. The paradox also raises important questions about the government's role in managing the economy. If individuals and businesses cut back on spending during a recession, who can step in to keep demand alive? Keynes argued that this is where governments must take action. By investing in public projects like infrastructure, education, and healthcare, governments can inject money into the economy, create jobs, and boost demand. This idea forms the foundation of Keynesian economics, which has shaped how many countries respond to economic crises. Debates and criticism. Not everyone agrees with the paradox of thrift. Critics argue that it oversimplifies the complexities of an economy. Some believe that saving, even during a downturn, can be beneficial because it leads to investment and future growth. Others worry that encouraging spending during a recession can lead to excessive debt, both for individuals and governments. These debates highlight a fundamental tension between short-term solutions and long-term stability, a challenge that policymakers face in every economic crisis. The psychological factor. The paradox of thrift also has a psychological dimension. In uncertain times, fear and anxiety drive people to save more, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. This is why consumer confidence plays a critical role in economic health. When people feel optimistic about the future, they are more likely to spend, fueling economic growth. But when fear takes over, the economy contracts. The paradox reminds us that economics isn't just about numbers. It's about human behavior and the emotions that drive our financial decisions. Key takeaways. So, what can we learn from the paradox of thrift? Keycap 1. It challenges our understanding of the economy. What seems responsible on a personal level can have unintended consequences when scaled up. Keycap 2. It highlights the importance of balance. Both saving and spending are essential, but their impact depends on timing and economic conditions. Keycap 3. It underscores how interconnected an economy is. No one acts in isolation. Our financial choices affect others, just as their choices affect us. In a world that often celebrates individual responsibility, the paradox of thrift urges us to think collectively. It reminds us that the health of an economy depends not just on our personal actions but on how we contribute to the larger system. Most importantly, it shows us that economics isn't just about money, it's about the choices we make, the confidence we have, and the values we share as a society. So, the next time you decide whether to save or spend, remember, it's not just a personal choice, it's part of a much bigger story. And that's what makes the paradox of thrift so fascinating. It forces us to see the bigger picture, to think beyond ourselves, and to find the delicate balance between individual and collective well-being.